Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So today we got a big inflation report. It came in better than expected. So what is that going to do for US markets? And more importantly, what is it going to do for Bitcoin? Although Bitcoin has been winding up for an epic bull run for quite some time, are we going to see it start again? Let's talk about all these things and more. All right, let's do it, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are starting on a day slightly below $104,000. We had a little hiccup last night. I filmed it. I think we had a little profit taking, a little whale manipulation, little leverage shakeout. We went down to $100 yesterday, slowly climbed back up. We're back, almost back to 104. So, and a lot of the alts started climbing today. And let's see, the US market is starting to turn green because we did get a favorable inflation report. So that's good. But this still seems like this is pre-tariff readings. So this is measuring April, and inflation was estimated to come in at 2.4%, but it came in at 2.3%, which is of course good. This is month over month, by the way. But you know, measuring price of goods last year versus goods this year is still higher. So overall, this is good. Not bad. This is better than expected. So we were actually pretty red in the futures market. Obviously, yesterday was a very, very, very good day. Everything was up tremendously. Today, you know, could have been a profit-taking day, but it does look like it's still going up, especially for, look at this, Coinbase up 15%. 15%. You know why? It's because Coinbase is being added to the S&P 500. That is going to happen next week. It's the first crypto exchange or crypto project that's being added to S&P 500. This is a huge thing. Thousands and thousands and thousands of funds and, you know, a lot of exposure, okay? Just being S&P 500 automatically gets it put into many funds, which means many people and companies out there automatically gets exposure to Coinbase. So this is big. This is really, really big. And you look at this headline, Coinbase could see up to 16 billion net inflows after entry. And this is a big, of course, sudden turnaround from last year when they were still being sued by the SEC. You know, they were really, their hands were tied. They really couldn't do anything. Now, they could do whatever the hell they want. The SEC, Paul Atkins yesterday said that basically they're not doing enforcement first. They're going to do innovation first. So now companies like Coinbase, they are free to expand and try new things. There are many things that foreign exchanges could do that US-based exchanges can't do, and now they're changing that. Coinbase just bought the options exchange Deribit for like 2.5 billion or 3 billion. So they're getting into the options game. They could get into the stocks game. They're in the staking game. They're in the futures game already. They may be allowing that in the US market. They're just expanding everywhere, and worldwide too. So Coinbase is on a roll. But it's not just them. Obviously, they have competition. Robinhood is another one. Robinhood is the favorite among, you know, the millennials and Gen Zs for stock trading and crypto trading. A lot of them are using it for crypto trading. And Robinhood is also expanding. They had their SEC lawsuit dropped as well, and they are expanding to the Canadian market. They're buying Mr. Wonderful's, Kevin O'Leary's WonderFi for $250 million. And they're expanding into the Canadian market. So good for them. So it's not just Coinbase. Everyone is looking to expand right now as the regulations change in the U.S. as the frameworks get developed. It's kind of like open season in the U.S. and everyone's just like trying to figure it out and trying to expand and grow as much as possible. So it's very good, is my point. It's very good. It's a new age for growth and innovation. So good stuff. Good stuff. What else is good? This is gaining a lot of traction. Senator Loomis's bill to buy 1 million Bitcoin is gaining support. Obviously, Trump supports it because he created the Bitcoin Reserve. But also 14 Congress people have supported it. I don't know if this will ever get the full support of all of Congress, but she's going to try. She's going to be at a Bitcoin conference too, end of this month. I know she and many others are going to be there and speaking. But how amazing would that be if we actually get congressional approval to buy 1 million Bitcoin as a country and put it into our reserve, right? That would be absolutely amazing. It seems like there's no way this could be. You know, it's one of those things like you just think that there's no way this could happen. But just look at how the landscape is changing in the U.S., everything that I'm covering, and the growth and adoption and maturity that's happening in the space. Maybe this is not going to happen this year, but you know, within the next few years, this could gain real support. This could really happen, especially if other countries start adopting it in a big way. So that kind of puts more pressure for us to adopt it too. So you never know. You never know. And you know, 1 million Bitcoin sounds like a lot, but between Saylor and BlackRock, just those two entities already hold more than 1 million Bitcoin. So it's definitely doable. It's not like it's impossible. And look at how much Saylor has acquired within just the last year alone. And that's just with one private company. It's crazy. And so many are still following in his footsteps. There's a new company. I've never even heard of this company. GD Culture. They plan on raising $300 million to buy Bitcoin and Trump coin. I don't know if buying Trump coin and putting it in their balance sheet is a good idea, but you know what? Again, a lot of companies are now following Strategy's playbook because it has proven that it works, right? And again, this is all adding up because there's only so much out there. We have a set supply, unlike any other commodity out there. Even gold. You can always dig for more gold. You can't create more Bitcoin. You could create more altcoins, and we see more being created every day, but they're not Bitcoin. It's not the same thing. And this is the reason why the liquid supply is going up by leaps and bounds. Okay, 14 million. So that is a tremendous amount. If you look at this, a liquid supply is just basically a supply that's not moving anymore. Okay, and it's just going up and up and up and up and up and up, right? Right now we have like maybe 19 million in circulation. 14 million of that is basically out of circulation. So 5 million of that is in circulation. You know, maybe 2 million of that is in exchanges, and 3 million is maybe, you know, with the ETFs, with Saylor, with OTC market, but everything else is locked up. And if you think about it that way, that makes it even more scarce. We look at it like, okay, there's 19 million, maybe there's 2 more million coming out within the next 100 years. But how much is really circulating out there? There's only like 5 million out there. And we're talking about 5 million for 8 billion people, but that's not considering the companies that are buying billions per week. So there's not that much to go around. And this is why I tell you guys to save some for yourself, because that's exactly what's happening. The businesses, ETFs, governments are loading up. And unfortunately, it's not really the retail that's loading up. You could see the individuals section is actually losing Bitcoin. And where is it going into? Well, the ETFs, businesses, others, and governments, right? It's shifting. This is a major wealth change or wealth shift from the people into the institutions. That's not what we want. Bitcoin was created for the people, meant to create wealth for the people, meant to help people break away from traditional finance and attain financial freedom. But now it's like giving the very people we're trying to break away from, even more wealth. That's not what you want. That's why don't give up on Bitcoin, even though it's so big and so large and so expensive. Don't give up on it. It's only gonna go up over time. That's why these guys are acquiring. They have finally realized that, and they're coming in late, but they're coming in very, very strong. BlackRock yesterday, even though others decide to sell, like Grayscale and Fidelity and others, BlackRock is like, nope, we're still going to acquire another 69 million, even though yesterday's overall net inflow was only 5 because the others sold. But again, BlackRock took in almost 70 million themselves. They just do not want to sell. They just want to buy and buy and buy and buy. And they are, if you look at their numbers, and I point this out very regularly, it's not normal, because ETFs are supposed to have inflows and outflows, because this is supposed to be according to how the people trade. If they sell their ETFs or they buy their ETFs, then the fund has to buy or sell Bitcoin. But when it comes to BlackRock ETFs, it's like almost every day it's only inflows, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. And it only makes sense if you consider they themselves are probably buying their own ETFs or using other ETFs to buy their own ETFs. They're doing something to make sure that they have a lot of inflows and not outflows. That's for sure. That's for sure. And yesterday, let me remove my camera. Look at this. We had a massive outflow. Why is that? Someone decided to buy a ton yesterday. Maybe they decided to take advantage. Yesterday, when Bitcoin fell down to 100,000, some entity decided to buy a ton of Bitcoin. Just look at that. We haven't seen a spike like that for a very long time. Even though we saw one earlier in May, this one that we saw yesterday was enormous. And that's not from a retail player. That's definitely from some large institution. So these guys are just being coy. They're being smart. They're doing it behind the scenes, making sure that you don't know about it, right? So I did mention this yesterday. We probably had some whale games to drive out liquidity, drive out leverage. That's exactly what happened. We did it both ways. We did a little bit on the upside, and we did a lot of it on the downside, to drive out the longs. It always seems to happen, right? But then we rebalance ourselves, and then we move forward, right? Hopefully, We're getting ready to clear out the shorts on the upside because there's some shorts between where we are 104 to 110. And if we clear that out, we are ready for the next leg up. And that's going to be glorious. That's going to be really, really, really glorious. So looking forward to it. And the last thing is, yeah, you know, when in doubt, zoom out. We're definitely on the uptrend. This bull run is still intact. We're still in it. We're still winding up for it. It has never gone away. We may have taken a break, but all this buying, all this accumulation, all the goodness, all the changes that are happening in the space has not gone away just because we had 3 months, 4 months of a downturn. No. All it did was actually give opportunity for you and I and institutions to load up more, and that's exactly what they've been doing. So yeah, things are changing for the better, and stay strong. Continue to do what you're doing. Things will get better, especially on the macro front if we do see more changes, right? Obviously, we had this 90-day pause that helped things. We get some rate cuts. We get more liquidity injections, things like that. That's definitely going to help drive things forward even more and faster. All right, outside of Bitcoin, what else? You know, you got a lot of institutions also, or let's just say companies, not big institutions, that are buying other crypto projects too, like Sol, like Solana. You have DeFi Development Corp that bought 172,000 Sol, taking advantage of the low prices. They bought it at $136. Right? Now their treasury is over 100 million in Sol. So they're NASDAQ listed too. They're not a small company. So there are many companies out there that believe in Solana and believe in other crypto. But I haven't heard of any other company that's buying, like loading up on other crypto other than Solana. So they're not the only one. And then we know there's another one called Sol Strategies, which is basically a copy of MicroStrategies, but they're doing it just with Solana as well. And they're partnering up with BitGo to offer institutional staking for Solana. So it's happening. And let's not forget those ETFs. Solana's going to get its own ETF, XRP, and many others. But I think Solana XRP will get there first. So that's coming too. So let's not forget that. And of course, the biggest driver on Solana, I would say, although there's many things on Solana is really good, but the biggest driver I think is memes so far. And Pump.Fun is coming out with their own pump swap. They have to, because now Radium and Jupiter both have their own token launching dApp. So now Pump.Fun, which is the most popular token launching or meme launching dApp on Solana, is coming out their own swap. And they're doing a revenue sharing model where the creators get 50% of the revenue from the fees, which is pretty darn good. So when things heat up again and all the memes starts getting really, really hot again, Solana, man, there's going to be a ton of competition on Solana. But my point is, yeah, a lot of things happening on Solana. And there's a lot of people accumulating Solana as well. Yeah, and the number of addresses holding at least 0.1 has been going up quite a lot within the last week. And for all of May, too. Lastly, there's some rumors that Truth Social may be launching its own meme coin. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised by it, considering Trump has his own meme coin. His wife, Melania, has his own meme coin. So why wouldn't Truth Social have his own meme coin? But Trump says no. no, that's a rumor. We're not going to launch a meme coin. Although, why not? Why not? Why not X launch a meme coin too? Why not everyone just launch a meme coin at this point? Meme coins are non-securities. SEC ruled that meme coins are non-securities. Why don't everyone just launch a meme coin at this point? Get some money while you can. I'm just kidding. And then Dubai government to accept crypto payments through crypto.com. So crypto.com is another exchange that is growing, American-based, doing well. Of course, the Lakers play at the crypto.com arena. And they are growing by leaps and bounds. All right. That is it. Coinbase is still hot, hot, hot right now. I mentioned Robinhood. Robinhood is still hot right now too, above 60. That is fantastic. Rest is okay. Looking good. Looking good. All right. Let's do some Q&A. Someone made a good point. X doesn't need a meme because Doge is it. That's a good point. Elon loves Doge. And Doge actually has been doing pretty well too, to be quite honest. A lot of memes got decimated over the last 4 months. So a lot of them came back recently, very, very strongly, but they're still way off from their top. So if we do get a lot of momentum and memes get hot again, yeah, they're gonna come back very strong. Expected time frame for Sol ETF, I don't know. I'm not the SEC chair, but I think it's gonna happen sooner or later. I think it's probably gonna happen Q3. So probably, right around, September, August, September, we probably get it. And it makes sense too because October is usually when we get a really good push. October to December. Every year you look at it, October is when we really start going up parabolically. But this summer we could get another push because of the good macro stuff that could be happening. So I think we get 2 pushes for the remainder of this year. One is good macro news or a rate cut that'll push us to this next level to like 130, 140. And then we stay there for a couple months. And then in September or October, we then move to the final stage to like from 140 to like 200. I think that's how it's going to go. JEA, I don't think we're going to go down to 50K. I think we may retrace like 50% at most. I think more realistically, it'll be like 30, 35%. So depending on how high we go, that's how you measure it. There's just too much institutional money in Bitcoin now. There's no way they're all going to dump at the end of this cycle. Most of them will hold. Some, no doubt, will sell. So can we see a 30, 35% drop? Yes, we have seen that before. Will we see an 80% drop? I just have a really hard time seeing it. Greg is asking, George, up or down? Where do you think the economy is going? You know, the thing about the economy is it's not going up or down right now. It's kind of going sideways is where I see it. The economic numbers don't show that the economy is getting worse, but it's also showing it's not getting better. So we're just kind of going sideways. Okay. Stocks and investments are getting a little better, and they could get a lot better if there's more trade deals and so forth that gets announced. Rate cuts will cause investments to go up, but for most people who are not even, you know, invested in anything other than their 401ks, it's not going to affect them, right? Although you could argue that the last 4 months have decimated a lot of people's 401ks and retirement funds, so it has made them more poor, and some people can't retire because of it. But I would say most people, you know, whether the stock market goes up or down, or whether crypto goes up or down, it doesn't affect them. But you know, from the economic numbers, they're not bad or good. They're just kind of okay. Warriors down 3-1. Well, I mean that's not a surprise. I mean, Steph is out, right? Steph is the only reason why they're winning. If he's out, it's done. Jimmy Butler's he can't carry a team. So yeah, but I was surprised. I watched the last like quarter of the Knicks game. Celtics lost again, and Tatum is out. It looks like he ruptured his Achilles tendon. I did that before. I know exactly what that's like. And he was like holding his Achilles tendon. It's for sure he ruptured that. He is out. So he's not playing the next games, the next few games. I think they're done. Man, that's very sad for him to see, but Celtics is they had the biggest payroll in NBA history, and it's gonna be a big upset. It's not career ending. It's not career ending. People could recover from that. You don't. In fact, some people don't even need surgery. When I tore my Achilles tendon, and yes, I was playing basketball too, but not on the NBA level, obviously. But I just had to wear this stupid brace that holds your like foot like this, and you slowly move it upwards. Uh, I was told the Achilles tendon is the only tendon in your body that could actually regenerate because it's like enclosed in this like sheathing. I don't know what it's called. So if you hold the tendon close enough, they'll actually regenerate. So actually over time, if you just like don't move it and keep in a certain position, it would actually heal. And it did for me. So it's not career ending, but for him, he probably needs surgery because he needs to like get back to it right away. Yeah. The Achilles will heal. But yeah, you probably won't get the same strength back. It'll always be in your head. Um, you know, and there's so much hate on Tatum. He's a nice guy. I don't know why there's so much hate on him, but anyways. What's my thoughts on Chainlink? Um, I haven't heard a lot about Chainlink recently. I like it. I like it a lot. It's just slow moving. It is American based, ISO compliant. Um, CCIP is a big bridge, very important. It's an RWA too. Um, World Liberty Financial also likes them. So they have a lot going for them. But there's times where they're just very stagnant. For people that are brand new to Bitcoin, what's your must do besides watching me daily? That's a good point. I guess I don't even know. I mean, first of all, no one likes to do like homework, but I think it's very important to understand why Bitcoin is important. I think most people that come in only look at Bitcoin as an investment, like a tech stock. Can I make money in it? That's the only thing I care about. So they don't understand the concept of holding because they only want to make money and they just want to sell it off as soon as there's like any kind of volatility, right? They don't understand it's something that you want to hold. So that's where if people did research into why it was created, why it's so important, why it's different than anything else, and if they could truly understand that, then it'll change their perception of it. But that's really hard. That's really, really hard. And I guess the best way to do that is to learn about money. I think the easiest way to learn about Bitcoin is to actually learn about money. Learn about how money works and how bad it is. How our financial system is basically a big Ponzi scheme. And once you realize that, then you look at, okay, how can I protect myself from that? Then you'll see, okay, there are store values and hedge against inflations, against all the shenanigans, such as gold. But then what's better than gold? There's Bitcoin. So actually that might be a better way to actually learn about Bitcoin. And then after you know about Bitcoin, obviously you got to know the basics. Learn what a wallet is, right? And how to use a wallet. I think that's the most important thing. And after you know that, then you can look at other crypto. Leroy, you don't really need to know about tech, but you need to know why Bitcoin is important. I think that's the most importantly. You don't really need to know about how the blockchain works. You don't need to know about the miners and what code they need to run and all that stuff. That's not as important as why Bitcoin is different than traditional fiat and why fiat was created to inflate forever and why the whole system is essentially a Ponzi scheme. Like, my faith in Bitcoin went up like 100-fold over the last 3 years because I learned more about how money works. Prior to that, yes, I had faith in Bitcoin, but mostly because I lived through cycles and I know how it works. I know about the 4-year cycles and so forth. But after I truly learned about money, then I realized how important and how different Bitcoin is. So that's the difference. What exchanges I use the most and wallet? You know what? I have a ton. I use a ton of exchanges and a ton of wallets. I'm not gonna tell you which wallets I use, but I will say Cold wallets, hot wallets, there are a ton of them out there. Phantom, MetaMask, obviously, but Rabby is a really good one as an alternative to MetaMask. It's terrific. I love it. Trust Wallet, Ledger, these are all good wallets. I use them all. And it doesn't really matter which wallet you use. Just remember to really secure your seed phrase. Seed phrase, seed phrase, seed phrase. Oh, Tangem is a new one that I'm experimenting with. And then Arculus, I've used them before too. But seed phrase is the most important thing. It doesn't matter if it's cold wallet, hot wallet, mobile wallet, browser wallet, whatever wallet. It could be a paper wallet. Seed phrase is the most important thing. Have you ever considered writing an informational book about crypto finance? Probably not. I'm not. I wouldn't be. I'm not a writer, but maybe I could ask ChatGPT to help me write one if I ever decide to write one. I started playing around with Tangem. I got one. I play around with it. They actually have no seed phrase. Everything's protected by their card, which is different than everything else. So that's interesting. So I'm playing around with it. I'm trying to decide if that's a good method or not. Because, protecting the seed phrase is always the most important thing, right? And when you get one, you get like 3 cards. So you got a lot of backups. So if you lose one, obviously you got 2 more, right? But what happens if like you lose all 3? Man, I don't know the question. I don't know the answer to that. Yeah, Rabby as a browser wallet is awesome. It will show like if you have one address, for example, if you have an ETH address, and the address is also the same as your AVAX address, and the same as your Polygon address, and same as your base address, and same as whatever other address, right? In MetaMask, you have to keep changing your chains to see all of your tokens or coins. In Rabby, it will simultaneously show all of them together in a list. It's awesome. And when you send, it can reserve some of your tokens as fees for you. Something that's very annoying for MetaMask. When you try to send everything, sometimes you forget, it'll error out, and you're like, oh my God, why did it error out? Rabby will have that feature where it will auto-reserve some for fees. But the biggest thing is like if you have multiple, like if you use one address for multiple chains, sometimes you forget you have like ETH on, wherever, or USDT on AVAX, and then you forget that you left it there, and then all of a sudden you find it because now you have Rabby and it shows you everything. It's really cool. I really like it. Let's see, for the week, the top 100, WIF went up 115%. Pi went up 91%. I've been trading Pi the last few days, somewhat successfully, but then it dropped hugely, so I don't know. I lost some money, so I don't know if I'm up or down. I might be down. Pepe, SPX, Brett, Floki, a lot of the major memes. At the DeFi Injective, Theta, Gala, Gaming, interesting. Ethereum up 43%. WorldCoin AI, Arbitrum, L2, Lido, Radium, Ethereum, ENS. These are all like DeFi stuff, virtuals, AI, Doge, Immutable. Kind of, you know, kind of well-rounded. Not just like ETH based, not just Sol based. Kind of like, and you know, you got DeFi, AI, memes, L1s, you know, kind of like all over. So it's been a pretty good week. 20, 30, 40% gains for the week. Not bad. Not bad. Dane, I don't know what the index ETF is. Tangent has keys. You could choose either or. I didn't have that option. I just set mine up the other day. It didn't ask me to choose keys. It just asked me to set up the cards. I'll have to look at it more, but it didn't ask me if I wanted in my keys. Maybe after the fact, I could go in and look at it, but it just asked me to set up the cards right away. Do I think Pi Network is legit? You know, I actually can't say anything about Pi. I don't know anything about Pi. Before I had a token, a lot of people asked me, a lot of people thought it was a scam because people were rewarded in Pi. They were mining it forever. Some people still tell me they can't withdraw their Pi. So I have no idea. It moves crazily up and down. A few days ago, it went up like 100% or something. Like, I really don't know if there's a good usage for Pi or not. Like, you know, I know the hardware is good. I have no idea what the token is for or anything. I did see some restaurants do take it, but outside of that, I have no clue if it's actually being used anywhere. All right, guys. Well, if you're holding Coinbase stock, you're looking good today. And Robinhood is looking pretty good too. But overall today, Bitcoin coming down a little bit, but still better than yesterday. 103. We got still a lot of good things happening, a lot of great things happening in this space. A lot of accumulation, a lot of changes for the better. And this is why you need to be in the game. Don't let all the big boys take up all of the Bitcoin out there. All right? So, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Have a good one, guys. And stay tuned for my video tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.